Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, TSP Rav Shiva. Hey, look, I like to talk about really interesting topics, and I found one that if you guys haven't heard, these two Italian uh, scientists did some research with this type of radar called LIDAR, a sort of tomography type of radar that can penetrate into deep areas of the Earth and through very thick uh, elements. And they basically were able to find these structures uh, that were massive under the pyramids in Egypt. And Zahi Hawass is interesting. If you watch this, if you haven't seen this, Zahi Hawass, if I'm not mistaken, is one of the, uh, I guess, representatives or chief representatives of the pyramids and researchers there as well. And he comes on here with Joe Rogan, and they have this weird podcast. But I think I know why this happened. So it's interesting. Let's look at it, and I'm going to try to break it down as we go through it. All right, guys, let's go.
Talk to you forever. I have so many questions. I'm very excited to meet you.
Most of the information that's written on pyramids are wrong.
Most of it?
Most of it.
In archaeology books?
In archaeology books.
Really?
Except me.
Are there photographs online?
Yes, in my book.
Boy.
I took Mr. Beast with me 2 months ago. I took him and I showed him. I am an Egyptologist working in Egypt for the last 57 years. I am the only Egyptologist who have an open mind.
Really?
That I
You're
always
the only
look.
one?
Yes. I never heard of this king list at all.
Never?
Never. And
You never even heard of it?
Why I have to hear about it? Because it's not true. I don't want to waste my time in things like this. Again,
Do you know?
I'm not a scientist.
Right, so why are you
I
dismissing
gave-
it, though? So you don't believe in ancient civilizations capable
No.
of advanced construction?
But, Joe,
you don't believe
Joe,
in aliens?
Joe, I
you
am
don't believe in carbon dating?
I am a scientist.
Oh.
If you believe in something, write an art.
Okay, this is interesting because I saw this earlier. Make a mental note to yourself. He's saying, Joe, I'm a scientist. He's claiming I am a scientist. He's an Egyptian researcher, right? Egyptologist. 57 years. And he says, I am a scientist. That's why he doesn't believe in any of the so-called mythology or any of the theories out there behind the pyramids that we've had and still have today of maybe extraterrestrial intervention and things like that. But just remember the fact that he said, I'm a scientist, okay?
Article, but don't give me a theory.
But the theory of planets... But if you believe in magic...
I do, of course.
You do believe in magic.
Yeah.
So you believe that someone could take someone's head off, put it back on.
It's written.
Okay, then it must be true.
Yeah.
What do you think magic is?
Magic is magic.
What do you mean?
Magic is?
Well, how does it work?
I have no idea.
This void above the grand...
Wow, that's really interesting that this guy is just, he's being so, what's the word I'm looking for here? He's acting as if the fact that he believes in magic, it's just a given, Magic is magic. It's just a given. It's a given fact. Because, how do you know? Because it's written. But yet, at the same time, which is really strange and ironic in some way, he doesn't believe in the theories and concepts of extraterrestrial involvement in the building of the pyramids. And maybe the pyramids go back even much further than what we think. It's interesting. And this guy's in charge of that whole area there, It's kind of odd, very odd.
Gallery?
The size of 2 trucks.
What do you think that is?
I have no idea. And I can show you the footage in my...
Do you have the footage here?
If you can come to my lecture
Oh, come
in
on,
Houston,
man. Well, what about right here, right now?
I can send it to you
Where's your computer?
in Las Vegas.
Oh, well, fuck.
But I can send it to you before
Yeah,
you
but I want to show it on the show.
show it in the show. I can
Like
send it
this
to you
show.
tomorrow.
Okay, you can send it tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay, we'll splice it in, folks. Isn't there a water table under the pyramid that's like 1,000,000 years old?
No,
There's not water underneath there?
no. This is the Osiris shaft that was full of water.
So is that what Mr. Beast was swimming in?
Exactly.
But where's that water coming from?
It's a water table.
Oh, there is a water table.
This when Beast entered inside
Right.
and
Swam in it.
swimming. I will tell you.
You will tell me how it was built?
Of course.
Okay. How do you know?
We published a book, 1,000 pages. This book is the Bible of the pyramids of Giza Plateau. I excavated every piece of sand.
Okay, what do the archaeologists have wrong?
The tools that the Egyptian used to cut the stones.
Are these photos of these tools available online? Can we look at them?
Yeah, I can send it to you.
Can we see them
published-
Are they online?
No, in my book, Giza and the Pyramids.
It must
I
be.
don't know if it's online.
I'm sure it's online.
Online or
Jamie
not.
will find it. Can't find anything?
It's in my book.
What did you find?
Well, nothing.
Nothing?
It's
How is that not online? That doesn't even make any
Pictures of the
sense.
It's in my book,
but-
Giza and the Pyramids. And this all what I discovered. This is my discovery of everything. Every piece of sand here. If you go to my book, you'll find out that I found here the diorite and the flint tools.
Are these the tools?
No. This is tools for artists.
Why is this not online?
Who never put them in line. It's in my book.
Are they in a museum somewhere?
There is
I have to say this guy's a great salesman. You know, he's consistently bringing everything back to his lecture. Come to my lecture. He's telling Joe Rogan, check my book. You know, he's a great. You got to give it to him. The man's got a great pitch. You know, he's sticking to his beat. He's not missing a beat at all. This guy's like, if you want to see anything, you have to come to my lecture. Come through my resources, and that's a sign of a very good businessman right there. You know, so he's not just an Egyptologist. This guy is entrepreneurial material right here, high level. So
some in the Cairo Museum, yes.
So there should be a photograph of them in the museum.
Okay.
Right, but why aren't these tools online? That's all I'm asking.
Ask the people online, but they are remains in my book. Few years ago, a major discovery happened for the first time. Do you want to know what's in this papyri?
I do.
And he said, my immediate boss, his name is Diddy.
Did it?
Diddy.
okay, if anybody else doesn't find that funny, I don't know, something must be wrong with you. But that is hilarious. I wonder if Diddy got his name from whoever he's referring to.
Yes. Now, 3 years ago, I found this is the tomb of Diddy, the person that he was the boss of Mirror.
And don't tell me they found plenty of baby oil.
And I published this tomb. You can find this tomb online now. It's called Diddy's Tomb by Zahi Hawass, west of the Great Pyramid of Khufu. I discovered in my excavation, the Egyptian had everything.
Mm-hmm.
I know every piece of sand in the site. Many people do not believe me.
This is your theory.
Not a theory.
No?
It's fact.
Where's that at?
It's an Abu Sir. I found
But
it.
are there photographs online? that we can
Yes,
see?
in my book. I don't go online.
This guy is great. Yes, in my book. Amazing.
Why I have to go online? I go to my book.
Oh, no, I understand. But for everybody else that
I
doesn't
think
have immediate
you should-
access to your
you
book.
should really. They want to make this for the king.
I understand the
Okay,
national
now-
project.
now,
but what I
no,
don't
Joe,
understand
no,
is
if-
the physics involved
Okay,
in moving
if you don't
80-ton
if-
blocks
okay.
500 miles through the mountains.
If you don't believe on this,
It's not that I don't believe.
I want
just
to
want to know.
inside this
Hold
block.
on.
Inside.
Hold on.
Okay.
It's not that I don't believe. I want you to explain to me how you think they did it. Are there photos of this?
Of course, in my book. Can you come and introduce me here in Houston?
Excuse me? Can I introduce you in Houston? No, I cannot.
Why?
Because I'm very busy.
Okay, fine.
If I'd known in advance, I could.
Oh, fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
Isn't that
But listen-
fascinating that you've been studying
but-
the pyramids
but-
for so long and you're still finding
but
things?
listen to me. What I'm going to do?
What are you going to do?
I want to show them the hieroglyphic
Why do you always feel like you're in battle with people?
because
but
because
I
they
don't-
attack me. Go to
Okay, I
go,
understand
go
that
in the,
people- I
I'm not in a
understand
battle
that-
with
I
people. They are
understand.
in the battle with me.
I understand that. But I'm giving you an opportunity to just lay things out. You don't have to argue with people that aren't here. What does that look like?
It's cursive of the hieroglyphic.
Let me see what that looks like, Jamie. That's fascinating. That's
No,
what
this is hieroglyphic.
this is hieroglyphic. That's
We
hieratic.
need to talk about
But on
hieratic.
the right, on the right-hand side, it says
In the-
hieratic.
exactly. Look at the one on the right, this hieratic.
Okay.
Then it's very
God,
difficult.
that's so beautiful.
Yeah,
What a beautiful language.
because hieratic is very cursive.
I understand, but I think this,
But we-
this
but
is
we-
showing that, right?
I know, but if you look at the signs in the 5 chambers that I will send it to you tomorrow, the team are using a very sophisticated techniques like ultrasound, infrared. With these techniques, you do not need any more to drill. I will tell you about my theory.
Please do.
The story, it's written in a papyri. It's called Khufu and the Magician. Then his son told him, I know a magician. His name is Jidi. He knows how to cut the head of a man off and put it back. And he knows the secret of the gut tooth, the gut of wisdom. That's written in the story. Then we know from books, from Judaism, from the beginning, that the ancient Egyptians were really highly in magic. Then we can believe.
Do you think that magic might have had something to do with how they constructed the pyramids? No?
No.
You don't, but if you believe that they had enough magic to take a goose's head and put it back on, it's still alive. That's magic.
Yeah.
Wouldn't they use that magic for other things? What do you think magic is?
Magic is magic.
What do you mean?
Magic is?
Well, how does it work?
I have no idea.
I'm fascinated by a lot of aspects of Khufu's pyramid. Well, one of the
That is so vague and so almost dismissive too, in some ways. He doesn't want to hear anything else, but then he says he believes in only magic because it's written. And it's just odd that he would have this weird ass view. And Joe Rogan's right to kind of like play him the way that he's doing right now. It's kind of, he's like bringing out this whatever side this is of him, or his true thoughts here. And he's right. The guy is very combative. The guy wants to fight. He wants to argue. He doesn't want to have a podcast and just sit and chill and have a talk. But I was going to say this earlier, but I wanted to look further to see, the Egyptian government isn't going to allow anybody else outside of an Egyptian to actually give this full story. And if there was something spectacular, they would want to keep that under wraps. And I can understand why. If you find something extraordinary, you don't want the entire world to know that, because then they'd all be coming there trying to dig it up and take it. And maybe even other countries want to go in there and mow down the, Egypt and take it over like they took over Iraq. That's where all the ancient Sumerian texts and artifacts were, in Iraq, exactly where the United States had gone and taken out the leader and took over the country. So yeah, he maybe the Egyptian government and him are probably working on the same idea.
big ones that's come up very recently that I'm sure you're aware of is these satellite radar where they think that there's these pillars underneath the structure.
Okay. I investigated this. They have never been in Egypt. They have never worked in the pyramids before.
Right.
Number-
But they're using satellite information.
Number
though.
two,
Do you know about the Osiris shaft? How they've got
I
they scanned, right?
discovered it.
You did, right?
Yes.
But do you know that they use this tomographic
No,
radar? and they-
no, I am the one who found it. This is not.
No, I understand you found it, but they also discovered it. They showed that it exists using the same technique.
No,
Jamie, pull
no.
up that-
This is wrong.
Is
This is
it?
not true at all.
Which shows that they got an accurate depiction of that from space,
That's not true.
from satellite. It's not true.
No.
So what are you saying, that they're lying? So
They're
this
lying.
right here.
They're completely lying.
But if they're showing, using these techniques, things that we know that you discovered that absolutely
okay,
exist,
now,
what makes you believe those scientists rather than these guys from Italy?
because because the scientists are scientists.
Well, these are scientists as well.
They are not.
What do you mean they're not
okay,
showing their techniques carefully?
Take the techniques that they said and
Okay.
show it to any scientist. No one can tell you this is accurate.
So you're telling me that these scientists that are proclaiming the capabilities of these satellite tomography devices that are saying that they can see kilometers into the ground with this stuff.
That's not true. Are
you sure?
I did.
Do you understand the technology?
No.
I'm just interested if new technology becomes available and they figure out a way to look into the ground and you discover things, especially if they discover the Osiris shaft and it turns out to actually
They
be
did
accurate.
not discover the Osiris shaft again.
Okay, you discovered it, but they used their technology to show an accurate depiction of the interior of the Osiris shaft.
The Osiris shaft.
Is that true?
No.
It's not.
The Osiris
the
shaft.
images that we showed,
The
is that true?
The Osiris shaft is known to everyone.
Right.
It can be seen by
when
everyone.
they turn their equipment on the Osiris shaft, it shows the actual interior.
Maybe, I don't know. Again,
Do you know?
Again, I'm not a scientist.
Right, so...
Okay, the reason I said pay attention, I'm a scientist. He said that in the very beginning. Remember I said, make sure I make a mental note that he said, I'm a scientist. The reason is because he just said, I am not a scientist now. So this guy is either lost his marbles or he's playing a very strange game here. And I don't know if he realizes that he's... it's hard. I don't know if you ever spoke to people. Like, I have people that I speak to that do exactly the same thing. They're usually sociopathic narcissists. They have a way of trying to manipulate situations, especially when they're trying to make a point and to overpower you in some way. And they'll twist everything around. This guy shows all those signs. He has every marking of a person that's manipulative and just only wants to have power and control. And it's just interesting how he, if you were to ask him, like the people that I know like this, they're bringing up to him that, well, you said this earlier that you were a scientist. He would deny it to the very end. I know people like this. These are, in my opinion, aren't good people, and they can't be trusted. So it's just really interesting that he has all those characteristics and personality traits. What a strange situation. Joe Rogan, you have to give him respect. He's handling this like a pro, and this is amazing.
Why are you dismissing it, though? Okay, but scientists are wrong all the time, particularly ones that are biased.
Then what?
Correct?
And I explained...
I think what they're saying is it's underneath the solid rock, correct?
Let me finish. And I said, your techniques that you published in this magazine is not refereed by scientists. You just published it.
Right.
They're working...
But you understand this is different technology.
I understand, but they know about this technology.
But have they used this technology?
No, they said this technology cannot work, cannot show 600 feet under the pyramid at all. This is what they said.
But listen, if the stone is 20 feet thick, the solid stone at the base, that's correct, right? And you said Osiris shaft is 50 feet. That means it can see past 20 feet, right?
But how can
so it can see through the stone and see... if they're using this technology to go 50 feet under the ground to get an accurate depiction of the Osiris shaft...
I am not a scientist.
I understand, but this is my question.
All the expertise.
Why would you dismiss it if you haven't looked under there?
If these techniques that these two Italians are correct, the only people who really can tell you it's correct or not are the scan pyramid people, not me.
But the scan pyramid people, aren't they using different technology?
But they know about technology. They are the top scientists in the world. I have to believe them, not the two Italians.
Yeah.
And if the Italians are really correct, they could come to talk to us.
Because I know that Graham Hancock and Brian Murarescu have been in contact with those people. And they're open-minded about it. They don't know what's going on down there, but these images are repeated over and over and over again.
Fine. But
it's fascinating either way.
Okay.
What do you think about Robert Schoch and his theory about the temple and the erosion outside of the Sphinx, that it's water erosion?
You know what Robert Schoch said? It's not his theory. It's a theory of a New Age guy, and we published many articles, that the erosion that you see outside and inside the Sphinx is from wind and not from water. comparing
So
to the
you
body.
think the head was made first and then the body was made later?
Exactly.
If that's the case, why is the body so much more eroded
I
than the head?
told you, the body,
did?
it is.
Like, you know about the King's List, right? The old King's List that goes back 30,000.
So if you didn't catch that, guys, what he was talking about, like the body of the Sphinx, if I'm not mistaken, opposed to the head of the Sphinx. If it was really weather erosion, the most protruded part would have been the top part of it, the head. That would take the most erosion and the most wear from the weather. The wear and tear would be from the weather from the most protruded part. And what they're saying is that the erosion is at the base of the actual Sphinx, the statue itself, which coincides actually, if you go back, I think it's 30,000 years or more, there is or was a great flood that happened during that time, and it kind of coincides with that flood. I can't remember the name of the researcher that had kind of put that hypothesis or theory together and put it out. I remember reading it in the early 90s, and I can't remember the guy's name now. And it almost makes sense that, according to what was stated by Joe Rogan and also by the book that I read before, and I can't remember the author's name now and who the researcher is, but it makes some sort of more of a plausible sense that if there was erosion at the base, that would have been done by water. The wind would have to be near a Cat 5 level hurricane, I would think, to make a dent on the base of such a large structure. So that's why this guy Zahi Hawass, you already know he thinks in a very odd way, but I don't know, he seems like he's defending something or protecting something, and I don't know exactly what it is, but I think like it's the Egyptian government not wanting people to come there and start researching on their own without going through the Egyptian government first.
Whatever years.
Who said that?
You never seen it? It's not in hieroglyphs?
This is not true.
It's
at
not true?
all. No.
No?
This is a speculation from people who knows nothing about history.
You've never heard of that before?
No, and this is not true.
What do you mean it's not true? I mean, I'm getting this off of...
It never happened at all.
Okay, I'm not saying it happened. I'm just saying that this is something that's referred to.
I never heard about it. It is not true. It has not existed at all.
Even if it doesn't exist, the myth of it exists.
Listen, Joe. Why do I have to go to a myth of people create stories?
If you go to Wikipedia,
I don't care about Wikipedia.
I understand.
I care about what I see in my eyes as an archaeologist or a philologist.
It's an Egyptian creation myth.
Fine.
You've never heard of that before?
Never heard of that.
That seems strange that you didn't hear about that before.
Listen, Joe. It's a new age theory.
It's new age?
Yes. Listen to me. I know. In Egypt, we know the prehistory of Egypt. We know the pre-dynastic of Egypt. We know the beginning of civilization. We know there is no gap in anything. And that's why I never heard of it, and I don't want to hear about it.
Well, I'm shocked that you haven't at least heard of it and dismissed it before. That seems weird to me. Because it's just I think it's a part of the creation myth.
I know, but it's not true. My mind, Joe, now is really cannot stand all these theories, all of it. It's too much for me. It's too much for me.
Got it. What do you base the dates on? Do you base it on carbon isotope?
No, we don't.
Right, but some of it is based on carbon, right?
No,
carbon
I don't believe in carbon-date 14 at all.
You don't?
No.
Why not?
Carbon-date 14 never give an accurate dating.
But you don't believe in carbon
I don't
testing.
believe in carbon-date 14 at all, and it's not working.
But I'm curious as to why you're skeptical about carbon dating, because I think carbon dating is generally accepted as being accurate within a certain framework.
It is, but I never used it. And many people, very rare, used in Egypt. Because in Egypt, mainly, we have absolute chronology. We have absolute dating based on inscriptions.
What do you think the arguments are that predate, that try to push the date back? of the construction of the pyramids.
I never heard of this.
You've never heard of this
No,
before?
it's only new. It's a theories
Right,
from the New Age.
But this was the evidence.
We are
hold on.
No,
This is the evidence in the argument. The argument was there was no evidence of an ancient civilization from 10,000 plus years ago. This is before the discovery of Göbekli Tepe. Göbekli Tepe gets discovered, known to be more than 11,000 years ago. That changes everything. Because
No.
now we know. Yes, it does.
That's
Because now,
changed for
hold
what?
on. Because now we know there was an advanced civilization capable of a spectacular construction 11,000 plus years ago.
This is what. Listen, look at the archaeologist in Turkey or in any civilization.
Okay.
They never talk about old civilization.
That's not true. Göbekli Tepe is universally
Okay.
accepted
Okay,
as being
Joe,
more than 11,000 years
I
old.
am talking now.
What I'm saying is
Any civilization older than we know,
older
we
and
have
still
no-
in the same
we-
spot.
we
How
have,
old
we have
does it
no,
go back?
We have no evidence. Do you have? Can you listen to me?
Yeah.
This is what was 3000 BC, 5,000 years ago. All what I do is digging.
That's it?
That's it.
What if these Italian guys are onto something? You can find more stuff. Send me
Mustafa.
that video so we can splice it in of the hieroglyphs that are on the wall. You'll send that, right?
I will send it
Okay.
tomorrow. You know, I met him because I wanted to convince the young people that pyramids were not built by aliens. That's why many people in America believe that you believe in aliens. When I talk to them that I'm coming to see you,
That I believe in aliens?
they do.
Well, I'm not opposed to the idea of aliens.
That was sort of an ad hominem type of comment. It was almost to try and say that because he believes in aliens, that he falls into the level of conspiracy theory and all those things, which I think we all do in some way. And I think anybody that speculates of intelligent life beyond what we know of as life here on this planet would fall, I guess, according to him and other people, into the conspiracy realm. Look, if you believe in God, it's the same exact way of looking at it as well. Maybe they're all conspiracy theorists, all the people who believe in God, and what, no matter what religion it is. It's something that can't be physically proven with science, you know? And then he's the one that himself said that he believes in magic. So this is kind of weird that he's finding a discrepancy with Joe Rogan believing in UFOs and not finding a discrepancy with him believing in magic. Very odd.
Existing. There's hundreds of billions of galaxies in the known universe, each with hundreds of billions of stars. The idea that we're uniquely alone. You don't think there's anything out there? Nothing. So you don't believe in ancient civilizations capable
No.
of advanced construction.
But Joe,
you don't believe
Joe,
in aliens.
Joe,
you don't believe in carbon
I
dating.
am a scientist.
Oh.
If you believe in something, write an article. Then I can read. But don't give me a theory.
But the theory of planets containing intelligent life is...
No, that's not true.
Right, but we're not talking about that theory. We're talking about aliens being possible.
No way.
No alien, just...
Okay. All I want to say is that this is really funny. I mean, you have to really... This guy is a real character here. You know, I'm sort of, left a bit dismayed here and kind of shocked, you know? This guy has been contradicting himself from the very beginning. How can a guy like this be running the show when it comes to Egyptology and be an Egyptologist? How can someone that's so hypocritical and self-contradictory, he's all over the place, and the only one thing that he sticks to, which is really interesting, that he even has something that he sticks to, is that come see my lecture, read my book. So he's really good at, selling his work, and kind of doing his little commercials through this thing. He's trying to plug his book constantly, and he's very consistent in that area, but he's very inconsistent in his actual beliefs and opinions in the pyramids and the processes that are used to research it, and the people who are researching it, and the speculations that are made, not just by Joe Rogan, but by many people that have been speculating about the pyramids and their origins. So this guy, I don't understand how this man is in charge of this area. So there has to be something, I think, at play here more with Egypt, which makes sense, I guess, in some cases, that they don't want people to start, flurrying over there and, coming in the, let's say the thousands and trying to, do something that may desecrate or harm the environment of where the pyramids are. The reason I use the word desecrate, because I believe that they consider that like a holy site, not just an excavation site. It's considered a holy site as well, a cultural holy site, because remember in the Bible they spoke of the Egyptians having, the rulers were like gods. So it's just, the whole thing is just really strange. But here's another video that I saw that I thought you guys might like as well, and this kind of summed it up for me. And I hope Joe Rogan, every time I do a podcast or I do a video about Joe Rogan's podcast, he never lets me use it. I have to go in and actually omit him out of my videos. But then I look at so many other people, but these people all have hundreds of thousands of followers and subscribers. I only have 2,000. That's it, or a little over. I think 2,003 now, and I'm very happy for you guys that you're here. I'm really appreciating it. But I think it's kind of sucky and really strange that Joe Rogan won't allow me to use his likeness or whatever the case is, but he's letting all these other people that are already established and have hundreds of thousands of followers use it. How does that help anyone, Joe? That doesn't make any sense. Because I'm the little man here. But you talk about being so fair and civil-minded and wanting equality in some ways, but yet I'm the one with the least amount of subscribers that talk about some of the stuff that you talk about, but you don't let me use any of your footage, but you let the people who have all the money use your footage. But anyway, let's go on. I just want to throw that in there so he knows that. So hopefully this podcast this video will get seen. Let's see.
Was this the pad that Zahi was using right here? This one?
Maybe. That might have been the worst podcast I've ever done, but maybe a good one too. Just to see, okay, this is the guy, this closed-minded fellow that's been in charge of gatekeeping all of the knowledge about
and
Egypt.
Still standing on the same ideas, even after this LiDAR comes out.
Yeah, the tomography, whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever it is.
That stuff's fascinating. Because I've been, even after that podcast, I've been watching more videos for those Italian scientists describing it. They've used it to, this is one of the things that I brought up. One of the temples that they scanned with this was very accurate. And he's like, but this was only 50 feet down. Like, yeah, okay, right.
He's doing a great imitation.
Like, at 50 feet down, you get an accurate representation of what's inside there. And he was the one, Zahi, supposedly, discovered it. But he's discovered everything, basically.
Yeah.
So how do you...
Genius.
He's the best. So
but the good thing is that Graham can go back to Egypt now.
Yes. Yeah.
So they patched up something.
Yeah, well, that was one of the reasons why Zahi came on.
Oh, really?
Because Graham talked to Zahi, and Zahi wants to do this. We're friends now. I was like, bring him in. Let's go. Bring him in. I'll talk to him. I thought it would probably...
Did he invite you to Egypt?
Yeah.
And what'd you say?
Yeah. If I'm going with Graham.
Yeah. I
or
told
Julie
Graham. I told Graham I wanted him to take me a few years ago. He said, I can't go. He'll kill me. So next thing you know, I see Graham's taking people to Egypt. I said, what the fuck?
Well, that's nice. It's nice that they patched it up.
I went back. I went there last July.
Did you?
June.
How was it?
Incredible. Yeah, it was incredible.
Did you walk away thinking immediately, there's a lot we don't know?
100%. Yeah. And what they tell you is complete bullshit.
Yeah. I have a friend who went there, and the archaeologist that showed him said, this is complete bullshit. Like, the narrative is complete bullshit. Yeah. He said, the scale of it, he said the scale of it and the technology involved in construction is beyond our current understanding of how to do this.
And it's not just the pyramids and the Sphinx. No. The other temples are magnificent.
Not only that, there's probably a bunch of shit under the ground.
I know. That's what I wanted to go see. But the cool thing was the first temple I went in, was what I'd seen on Ancient Aliens, where at the very top of the temple you have one of the most famous hieroglyphs, which has a spaceship, a helicopter, and a submarine up there, as clear as you can possibly imagine. And you're
Show
like,
that.
This is actually, if you haven't seen this, I saw this years ago when I was a kid, and I was actually one of the first things I'd wanted to do was archaeology. Then I wanted to do science, be a scientist after that. Turned out to be anything else but but any of those two things. I've done like everything in my you could think of, from driving a tractor to sandblasting glass. I ended up teaching yoga for a while and doing the other things that I worked as a counselor, an addiction counselor, and then was a stand-up comedian, all these things. But it's funny how life kind of has a way of doing its own thing. But it's so interesting here, though, where this guy is making all these contradictory remarks. He's in charge of the entire facility in Egypt and the whole excavation site. And you have, thank God Joe Rogan is actually able to bring some of these people on, talk to them, and to help get all the different perspectives of what's happening here. What he's about to show you, if you haven't seen it, it really is going to blow your mind. I want you to really take a close look at what these things are. And these are ancient. You're talking about thousands of years old. And how in the world did they even fathom the idea and the shape of these things?
That.
what the fuck is that? How in that? What is that? Explain that, please. Because that looks like a spaceship, that looks like a submarine, and that 100% looks like a helicopter.
So weird. Egypt is the weirdest place on earth. It
Yeah.
really is. Because
But that's why it needs to be.
yeah.
What the hell's underneath it?
Well, I think that one.
That one right there?
Yeah. I mean, come.
I mean, what are we
on.
talking about?
Come on. That's so crazy.
That's a spaceship or a fighter jet.
some kind of a.
That's a.
Check that out. Now look at this right here. I don't know if you can see my cursor. That's not a fish. That's not a bird, but it really sure as hell looks like a helicopter. Look at the blades on top. Look at the tail. Look at the structure. This one here, some people think it looks like a submarine. I think it looks like a small yacht. I think Joe Rogan said the same thing. This one here definitely looks like the shape of a UFO, or what you would think one would look like. And even this one here on the bottom almost looked like one of those, what were they called in Star Wars, land racers or something like that. It almost reminds me of one of those, but I don't know if that's something that looks like that. It's just amazing. These you can't mistake this for anything in nature. It's not natural. It's definitely geometric patterns, and they're very familiar to us. That we've seen things like this.
Submarine.
It looks like a yacht. It looks like one of them old
It's
guy
yeah.
yachts
Yeah.
that they
See?
keep getting.
But that's
Impounded.
that's a helicopter.
It looks like a
I mean,
helicopter
come
to
on, what are we
me.
doing?
It looks just like a helicopter.
Yeah, that was the first
if
place
it's
I
not a helicopter, what a goddamn
What is it?
coincidence.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of weird stuff there.
Take a good look at this. You see this one here? It has like it looks like it's flying, but it's like, the reason I say that is they have this like exhaust coming out in the back here. At least that's what it appears to be. I'm not sure what these things are over here, but if you look at the pictures really closely, there's some aerodynamically shaped objects, if you want to call them, that we're looking at. They all have some sort of aerodynamic shape to it, in the midst of some of the things that are surrounding it. But that picture says a lot to me.
A bunch of weird images. And how about that one plane that they found that was inside? They found like a wooden plane
Yep.
that was inside one of the chambers.
Yeah, totally normal.
Yeah.
Probably just buried there with the.
That was the other thing that Zahi was unwilling to entertain, was this King's List. This Zepteki King's List that goes back 30,000 plus years.
Yep.
They all want to pretend that that's a myth, that all the other hieroglyphs are legitimately documenting the history of the region. But when it
But not
gets
that one.
past the narrative, these 30,000-year-old kings, that place has probably been there for a long fucking time.
Yeah, probably hundreds of thousands of years.
which is so crazy.
Yeah, it's probably built on other stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the other thing about the base of the pyramids. Is like you have to realize like there's a base there before they put the pyramids up. They put this insane base, and if what they're saying is accurate with these readings, that there's a structure that goes under the ground 2 kilometers. Like,
Yeah, what is that?
if they can find that, then you have to throw everything out the window.
But aren't you with me? Like, why are we not interested in that?
But we are.
But why are we? Why is modern archaeology not going? Yeah, let's fucking figure this shit out.
Because modern archaeology forever has been saying that we have the answers, that we have the timeline, we know when Khufu built this, we know when Khafre built this, we know who did this, and they're not correct. It's not accurate. It's too weird. There's no way you have all the information. Also, where'd everybody go? Like, there's people living there, but it's clearly not the same civilization. So what happened to this insane civilization? If there wasn't a collapse of society at an immense level, if there wasn't some sort of a civilization.
Hey guys, sorry about that. I had some technical difficulties here. I, for some reason, lost my audio. But, the gist of what we saw here to me is truly fascinating. And like I said, I remember seeing this when I was a kid. And it gives me the same feeling even more now. I think a lot of Gen Zers, like myself, that are around my age, remember seeing these things. But with the technology that they have today, and there's so much more interest in the world about. I was like one of the nerd kids, that hung out with other people that we weren't actually nerds because we were always getting into fights, but we had this nerd side to us. That's one of the things that me and all my buddies could get along with, even though we had like one of my I grew up in foster homes, so one of my foster brothers listened to like heavy metal, the other one listened to the same music I listened to, the other one listened to like Depeche Mode and The Cure and stuff like that, and we had like all these different types of things that we like, but one thing that we all had in common was pondering the unknown, and we used to sit and when we were in our teenage years talk about this stuff. That's why I love watching Joe Rogan's podcast, because he brings that Gen Z stuff from our childhood right back here, or right here into the future, which is great, in the present, I guess now. But and I love that fact. But like I said, it's almost nostalgic being able to see this again so many years, about 30, 40 years ago, and it just blows my mind that now we have the ability to understand just a little bit. Look, it's been since I saw this when I was a kid. It had to have been 35 plus years, and we still don't know anything about the pyramids than some of the same things that we knew from before. We only have discovered maybe more architectural discoveries of underneath the pyramid, and now with this lidar tomography type of radar, this lidar, they're able to go further down and give us some insight into what may be underneath the actual pyramids. This is truly exciting on so many different levels. I really hope that you guys can be as excited as I am and other people are, because I'm pretty sure within these next few years that we're going to see a lot of amazing things, discoveries, God knows what exactly, but I just have a really good feeling about it. But guys, I'll let you go with that. Hope that you enjoyed the video, and you know what to do if you like the videos. You want to see any other video I do, hit that notification bell. Definitely subscribe if you like what I do. I would appreciate a like. That would help me quite a bit with the algorithms. Um, I'll be doing more videos coming up soon, and I like I said, doing a very interesting topics. I used to do stuff on like social issues, but I stopped doing it. Why? Because it's just too exhausting, and it seems to be a waste of my thought when I'd like to do exploration and discovery. Those are my two favorite things. Alright guys, I will see you in the next video. Have a great, wonderful night. Namaste, shalom, assalamu alaikum, all that great stuff. And I'll see you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.